Yo, what's up, guys? Good morning. I wanted to again keep this thing going, and this is what we are calling the take action moment of the day. And so, what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to pull up some notes here, but I really wanted to first off, I wanted to hear from you guys. If you guys can do me a favor, let me know in the comments, no matter if you're watching this live or if you're watching this after the fact. Let me know you're here. Let me know that you are having a cup of coffee with me, or tea, or beverage of choice, whichever. It doesn't matter. But what I wanted to do, though, is I wanted to cover something here today because I think a lot of people, especially right now, you're feeling stress. You're feeling, the sense of confusion, worry, not knowing what is going to happen. So that brings stress into our life. And how do you deal with that? Now, dealing with stress isn't easy. There isn't like a magic pill that you can just take and stress is going to just disappear. And you have to understand how to recognize it. But then from there, what do you do with that? So what I want to cover here today in our little coffee talk, cheers. I want to address this, but I also want to give you. I actually have a few points here I want to make. I got like 5 different things I want to cover, and again, I want to make this actionable. I want you guys to be able to show up here, say hello, but then I want you to have one little thing, just one little thing, and that's why I'm calling this a take action moment, because there are moments in our life that things challenge us, that things make us be aware of. And then from there, we either can react to it or do something with it, or we can avoid it and become stressed out and play stories in our head that, we all play stories in our heads, right? Like it's, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if the economy never comes back? What if I jump on a plane and it goes down? Like there's worries about everything, right? And then we tell ourselves stories. So what I want to do is I want to give you some tools here that you can use. So this way here, you have better clarity on what it is that you want and that you want to achieve, but more importantly, how to take a worry or a stress and lessen that. I'm not saying that we're always going to get rid of this, but to lessen it, so this way here we can perform better, right? And we can feel happier. We can feel more productive. And that's really what the end goal is of this. And that's why I titled this, Remove Stress and Rewire Your Brain for Success. And it's funny, after I got done with our coffee talk yesterday, I immediately said, okay, what's going to be tomorrow? Because I kind of knew where I left off and I knew where I wanted to go with this. And immediately I was like, you know what? Right now, people are stressed out, right? And if we allow ourselves to kind of go down that path, it can really make a huge impact negatively on where we're going. And we don't want to do that. We want to try to take this and turn it into a positive, but how do we do that, right? Like, how do we do that? So let me dive in here. I see a bunch of you guys are jumping on right now. Do me a favor, guys. Let me know you're here. Hey, Hassan, what's up? Good morning. Dan, what is up from Marco Island, Florida? What's up, Dan? Yeah, if you guys can do that, drop a comment. Just let me know you're here. I don't want to drink coffee by myself this morning. I showed up here so we could have coffee together. So make sure you do that. If you have anything that you want to ask, anything like that while we're on or even after, let me know. Put it in the comments down below. All right. So let me get to it. What's up, Josh? Let me get to it. Let me move this over. Okay. I just want my notes here so I can make sure that I'm covering what I want to cover. All right. All right. So number 1 is we need to identify stress. We need to identify what it is, and we need to be honest. We need to be honest with ourselves. What are we stressed out about? What are we thinking about? What are we constantly replaying in our mind? All right. And right now it might be Well, I don't know if my job's going to be there, or I don't know if my business is going to rebound from this, right? Like those are going to be stresses. So you need to know what that is. And I know that seems simple and it seems obvious, but we're talking about little take action moments here. So I'm going to give you these. I want you to actually sit down and go through this process. And there's one thing in here I want you to actually do as far as movement. All right. So number one, we need to identify the stress. So even if you want to grab a notepad or a piece of paper or something and jot these down, and again, you can replay this if you want to. But number one, okay, in order to get rid of stress and rewire our brain is we have to identify it. Like, what is that stress? What is that thing that keeps us up at night? What is that thing that we keep coming back to or we keep playing in our head, right? And so I want you to get clear with that. Right. So that's number one is we need to identify that and you need to write it down. And I don't care if it's one thing, 5 things, 10 things. Let me share a quick story. Okay. So last year, I did a lot and actually borderline too much. And I had a lot of stress. Okay. And that stress, I mean, the things I was doing was good, but I was still worried if I was going to be able to fulfill them. Right. So one of them was writing my book. Okay. I wrote this book last year in 12 months. Didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, but I put myself out there that I had something that I was doing that I was going to give to my audience as far as writing something. And I did it, but I was stressed about that. Recently did an Airbnb last year. Okay. And that was a little bit stressful because, well, it was a lot of money. And we didn't know if it was going to work. We didn't know if if the house was going to do well on the market when it was listed. So all of those things, right? I had that going on. I did a big live event in September, but leading up to that, I was nervous. I was stressed. Are people going to get value? Are my speakers going to show up? Are they going to cancel? What happens if this happens? What happens if that happens, right? So all this stuff keeps playing and playing. Physical product business. I got this over here. I got a partner. I want to make sure that they're happy, right? I've got students that are counting on me. I've got, in-person workshops. People are relying on me. They're depending on me, right? So all of these things, right? And I'm going to share with you how I kind of, took that and restructured some things so I don't feel that anymore, or at least as much. Okay. I think we're always going to have stress and it's normal, but we need to be able to control it. All right. So number one is identify your stress. All right. So that's number one. And you need to be honest with yourself. And if you don't want other people to know about it, just write it in a notebook. Okay. So now number two, and this is a big one. This is how you can rewire your brain. All right. Almost instantly. And that is reflect on your past. Okay. Let me say that again. Reflect on your past. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Well, there was a time I would almost guarantee, all right, and I'm going to ask you to do something here in a minute. There was probably a time in your life, if you went back and you go, wow, I was really stressed out about that thing. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. And I stressed for months. And then you ended up doing it. And you ended up knocking it out of the park. You ended up succeeding at that thing. Or maybe the thing that you were worrying about never really happened and the thing turned out really, really good, right? So I'll give you a small little example of this, right? My daughter, Kayla, who is 12 years old, and she plays volleyball, okay? And obviously right now through this quarantine, we're not doing any volleyball, but she played volleyball. And last year, she had the opportunity to try out for a semi-regional team and then a national team, or she could have just played on gold, which is basically like it's non-travel. You kind of play in-house. And she was nervous. She was so nervous. And so we said to her, do you want to play on that team? And she said, yeah. And I said, and we said to her, but what are you nervous about? Well, what if I don't make it? I'll feel, awful. And I'm like, well, yeah, maybe. But what if you do try out and you do make it? Well, even if you don't make it, it's okay. Let's look and see what we need to improve on. And then we can, go back and fix those things. Right. But here's what happened. Literally, this is a true story. my wife and my other daughter, who was visiting at the time, went to bring her, and she was in the parking lot. I can't go in. I don't want to go in. I'm just nervous. I can't do it, in tears and everything. So my wife's like, all right, fine. Whatever. I mean, and we don't usually say okay, but we were like, okay, if this is, at this point, like, it's not worth it. So started driving her home, and then she wanted to turn around and go back. And so she faced that fear. She faced that stress that she's been stressing about. And the bottom line is, she ended up making the semi-regional team, and it was a great experience. When she was on the team, she was so happy and so excited and loved the challenge, loved playing with a little bit better players, all of that stuff. But if she never faced that, she never would have gotten that result. And now, guess what? She can look back at that and go, oh, I remember that time that I was stressed, that I was nervous, and it ended up working out. And man, I learned a lot from that, right? So that's what we need to do. And that's a kid's story. We have that happening in our own lives. My wife and I, we started our photography business. That was scary. I left my job of supporting my family, to where I was jumping off the ledge, and I'm like, entrepreneurship. And then, I did it, and it worked. Was it easy? No. But now I can look back at that and go, I remember when I was nervous and I did that. And honestly, in my book, there's so many stories in the book about that. That's why I talk about them as take action moments. And this could be one of those moments for you. That's why I called this show, or this Coffee with Scott, take action moment, because that's what that is. Okay. So number one, identify your stress. Number two, okay, you need to reflect on something that you've already overcome. Okay. That should give you a boost of confidence. That should give you a boost of, you know what? I can do this. And you know what? Yes, it stinks right now. And yes, I'm frustrated right now, and I'm worried right now, and it's okay. But we need to also know we've gotten through other things. We've battled other things, and we've come out on top. All right. Now, there's other times you might not come out on top, but I bet there's a lesson that we learned in that. All right. So let me ask you, this is where I want you guys to contribute here in the comments. Put down one thing that you can think of that you've done in the past that you didn't think that you'd have been able to accomplish, or that you were nervous about, but you ended up doing it and it ended up working out. Do that for me in the comments. Okay. I'd love to see that. All right. Number three. Now, this is something we've been talking about. Okay. Thinking of identifying it. Then from there, thinking about something that you've already done, that you've succeeded at, even if it's the smallest thing, right? So those are kind of mental things. Now, the next thing we're going to do, and this is very important, is we need to get up and we need to move. All right. Now, I don't know the whole science behind it, but there's a lot to it, that when you get up and you move and you get the blood flowing, that you're actually able to think clearer, you feel better, you have more energy, and you actually de-stress. All right. So this one here is walk and breathe daily. And I don't mean just like we're breathing right now. I mean, like really take that deep breath and blow that out, and do that 2 or 3 times. That's it. You don't have to do it like a meditation session unless you want to. These are, again, small little tiny habits that we can install into our life. So first off, take that walk. All right. Take that walk. And I don't care if it's 5 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, if it's a minute. I don't care. If it's walk out to the mailbox and come back, that's a walk. All right. Now we can improve on that and increase that. But when you're doing that, don't have your phone. Don't, have something that's going to distract you. Be in your own space. Be in your own head. And here you can think about that stuff that is worrying you, but then also reversing it with, well, wait a minute here. I've been through stuff like this before. I'm going to be okay. Right. So the walking for me, and I'll share with you something that you can do, and you can actually install this into your day. But basically it's movement and walking. And this is another little tiny habit. And I've got the other book here that I'm reading, Tiny Habits, from BJ Fogg. Great book. But it's all about creating those tiny habits. So what I would do is I would try to install this throughout the day. And I say install it because a lot of times we just kind of go freely about our day. Oh, we're going to do this. I normally do this. We want to do is we want to install this into our routine. All right. So number 3 is walk and breathe daily. And this has to be consciously. You have to do this. And I'll share with you how I kind of install this into my day. And it's a way that I can get a power shot in the morning. Like I can get a little burst in the morning. All right. So really, if you just took those 3 and I didn't even give you the next 2 that I'm going to talk about, those would help you. All right. So give that a shot. All right. So we covered number 1, we need to identify our stress. Okay. We need to, and be honest about that. Okay. Write everything down if you can, or think about it, and then reflect on something that you've overcome in the past. Give yourself a little bit of credit. Hey, good job. Right. And then walk and breathe daily. Okay. And again, that breath is not just like we're breathing right now. I mean, consciously stop, pause, and give it a, and just let it out, right? Like it's almost if you were in a pressure situation, you always hear people say breathe, right? Breathing has a lot to do with us relaxing and taking that stress down a notch. All right. So give that a shot. All right. Number 4. All right. Take time to plan. Take time to plan. And I would prefer you to use a notebook. I actually got one here. Okay. Right here. I just did this morning. All right. And I'm planning my week. I do it beforehand. So I got my little notebook. Here it is. Right. And I map everything out. This is my my little to-do list, but also what I've got swirling around in my mind for the week. Now, the same thing happens in that notebook of things that, especially if I'm in a stressful time, I'm going to do a brain dump. Okay. And that brain dump is like, what is right now, like, what are those stresses that you were thinking about? Put them down so you can see them, right? We can look and see those and we can go, okay, this one here, I don't have any control over that one. This one here, I do have some control over. So I guess I can work on that. But the ones that I can't control, I got to kind of let them go because I could be worrying about something that's not ever going to happen, right? So it's really important that you go back to your stress list, whether that's up here or if you put it down. I would prefer you to put it down. That's why here, what also happens here, and this is how we kind of rewire and we kind of retrain our brain, is we take this stuff that we're thinking about, we're swirling about, and we put it down on paper. When we connect these 2 things, what happens is we can also now start to let this go because we don't have to worry about it, right? It's documented, it's down on paper. All right. So that's why I do love writing down with ink. Okay. And putting it down. It also, if you've ever noticed, have you ever been laying awake at night? You wake up and then you're like, oh, and then you're like, what should I be worrying about right now? Have you ever thought like that? Put in the comments. Have you ever woke up in the middle of the night and said, oh, what am I supposed to be? I mean, maybe you don't say that, but you think to yourself like, oh, what am I supposed to be worrying about? Oh yeah, that's right. I got a big thing coming up here. Oh man, I don't know if that's going to happen. What if I don't do that? Or how about this? Oh my gosh, I got so much I got to do this week. I hope I remember it all. That's right. I got to bring them there. I got to make sure that I send that stuff out there. I got to make sure that I contact my VAs over here. Have you ever done that in the middle of the night? Well, here's the deal. If you put it down on paper, your brain isn't going to want to always recall that because it knows that you're not going to forget it because it's down on paper. All right. So give that a shot. I'm telling you, that's another thing that will help you. All right. Now, the last thing, and this is number 5. All right. I've got like 5 steps here. I'll recap them here in a minute. But basically, we have, let me just recap what we got so far. Okay. We got number 1, identify the stress. Number 2, we need to reflect on something that we've overcome that we were stressed out about in the past. Give ourselves some confidence. Number 3, walk and breathe intentionally daily. And then 4, take time to plan in a notebook, get all that stuff out on paper so we can kind of see it. And then number 5 is create a small success routine. Okay. Let me explain. All right. When we start our day, if we don't schedule things in the very beginning of the day, it probably won't happen. Or if it does, it will happen probably not as good as if you planned it, right? So if you say to yourself, I want to start walking, I want to start meditating, I want to take a walk in the morning, or I want to work out in the morning, or I want to have a cup of coffee with my spouse in the morning, like whatever it is, right? There's things that we need to create, these little habits that happen in the morning. All right. And that's how we can kickstart the day. All right. And that part of that could be writing down things. Okay. So let me give you an example of what mine looks like right now. Now, it was a little different because my daughter was in school. So, and I'll kind of show you what that means or what it looks like. All right. So number 5 here is create small success routines. Okay. So number 1 for me, this is what it looks like. My alarm goes off, which by the way, I don't wake up to an alarm that goes, I don't do that. Okay. Because who wants to wake up with someone blowing a horn in your ear or something, right? Like who wants that? Then you're like trying to hit the snooze. I use a sleep app. It's called, gosh, what is it called? It's called Sleep Cycle, I think. Let's see. Yeah, Sleep Cycle. And so basically this thing will give me a window of when I wake up, when I'm not in a deep sleep, but when I'm coming out of the sleep. So you have these different sleep patterns. And there's been studies that have said if you come out of, or if you're coming out of a deep sleep and you wake up, you'll feel more energy, you won't have a headache, like all those things. So this alarm goes off and it's really like kind of light, and it's a nice little melody. And it'll only go off in that time frame or within that time frame. So again, I set mine for 5:30 and it will go between 5:30 and 6. So this morning it was like 10 of 6 because I was in a deep sleep at 5:30 and it wasn't going to wake me up until I started coming out of that, but in that window. All right. So a little hack there for you. But so when I get up, the first thing that I do, brush my teeth, go to the bathroom real quick if I gotta, right? And then I put my sweatshirt on and I head out here to my office area. I grab my earbuds and I grab, if I need a jacket, I put a jacket on, but usually right now it's sweatshirt's fine. Grab my flashlight, put my earbuds in, and out the door I go, and I go walk. All right. And generally I'm walking for 30 to 40 minutes. All right. By that time, I'm back here by 6:30, 6:40, come in my office, and then I read maybe 10 minutes. And right now I'm reading this. So I sit here, right here in this spot, and I read, I got my bookmark here, right? And I basically just read. I put something good in my brain, okay? This, the first part of my day, okay? So I walked. Well, I woke up from my sleep gently, right? And then from there I walked, and then I came in here and I did a little bit of this, right? A little reading. And then from there, after I'm done with that, then I go in, shave and shower. And that's like, okay, that part is done right now. Okay. Now there's one thing that I installed in there. I talked about this yesterday because I'm reading the Tiny Habits, is how can I create something in that morning routine that is not like, it's not going to be hard to do, and it's something I can easily insert there. So when I get in ready to shave, the first thing I do is I do push-ups off of the counter. I do 15 of them. All right. And I just do those before I shave. So I just installed that about 3-4 days ago. It's working great. Okay. So again, I did that yesterday in yesterday's episode, but so now we get to that point, right? Now, because my daughter's home now, because all the kids are out of school because of this, coronavirus and all of that stuff. So now what I do is I come out of there. I've got my dogs, so I've got to let my dogs out. Okay. And then when I let them out, I do something here, which you guys may or may not know. But I like Swiffering. Okay. It's actually a little bit relaxing to me. And I like to know that my hardwood floors are dog free as far as hair. Now, Maisie doesn't really shed, but Brody does. But again, it allows me, it's something here that I've always been organized. I've always liked my cars to be clean, and I like my office space to be clean. I just feel like I can focus and I can think clearer and all of that stuff, which is another little bonus here for you guys. If you feel a little bit like you're all over the place, maybe take a minute and straighten up some things. All right. So I Swiffer. for about 10 minutes. I swiffer around and I'm going around and stuff. And oh, wait a minute, time out. Let me back up. I've got a little jazz station that's on our TV. So I put that on. I put it really low and I got a little jazz going, a little smooth jazz it is. And then I start swiffering, right? And so that's that part. And then after that, get my coffee ready, right? And then after the coffee's made, I start. Now that right there that I just went over never changes. Never changes, okay? Right now I've been doing that for months, okay? Now, after I get to that point, I've got my day starting, okay? Now that day that starts, I also block out different times of the day, but I don't even want to get into that for you right now, okay? Because that stuff can go, that can go different directions depending on what you're doing, where you're doing it. But that first part of your day, you can create whatever you want in that first, hour or two, right? And that right there will set you up mentally to de-stress you and also make you start the day on a high, on a positive. All right. So there's my little morning routine for you. And I can do more on that too in the future because I'm always experimenting with that. So let me just recap here real quick. Okay. So this way here we can remove stress and rewire our brain for success. And before I do get into the recap, let me know, guys, do you do a morning routine of some kind, of any kind? Just give me in there if you do, and maybe for how long? How long does your morning routine last? All right, so number one, identify the stress in your life, okay? The first part is getting real with it, right? So you got to be 100% honest and open with yourself. Number two, reflect on something that you've overcome in the past. Okay. And this is big. Give yourself credit. Give yourself props. You did a great job. All right. Say that with me right now. I did a great job. I am successful because you are. You've done something in your life, or probably a lot of different things, but you need to believe in yourself. And you need to also know that when you get presented with a stressful situation or a stressful thing that you're thinking about, you can do it. You can overcome it. But we got to get this right. All right. So number two is reflect and just remember that you are great. Okay. You are a good person. You are successful. And you might even want to say that to yourself. Okay. All right. Now, number three, walk and breathe daily. And I don't mean, like I said, and if you're showing up late, this is what I meant by this, not breathing like you're breathing like this. Intentionally, sit here for a second, pause, and do a nice in and let it out. Like when you let that out, I'm telling you, it just makes you feel, you can almost feel the stress relieving your body. All right. Give that a shot. Number four, take time to plan from going through these different things. Plan, okay, go back to what you've done in the past that you've overcome and write that stuff down. But also, what does your stress look like, and how can you get rid of some of that? Or how could you look at the things that you have control over and address those first? All right. And then number five is create a small success routine. And for me, I like it first thing in the morning because that there sets up for the rest of the day and it gets us in a positive mindset. Okay. So that's what I got for you. Remove stress, be happier, and reach your goals. And that's kind of hopefully something that you can adopt in your life. So let me see if you guys got any questions or anything. I haven't looked at the comments here. Let's have a little sip of coffee. So let's see. Hey, John from Toronto. What's up? Josh, what's up? Good morning. I already said hi to Josh, I think. Nitin, good morning. What's up? Josh says, moving to another state to renovate my sister's house, something I had never done before, but it turned out great. Yeah, and Josh, let me ask you something. Did you think, let me take that back. Were you worried about that? Were you stressed a little bit that people are going to be depending on you and you didn't know if you're going to pull it off? I'm just curious. And then also, let me just put that up on the screen there. And then Josh says, also thinking about making a DIY renovation, my niche. It's a great idea. Think about that. Anything that you do, maybe I build a new set of blinds here. I could do a DIY, right? I build a new desk because I want something that's rustic. I can show how I built that desk. So there's so much that we can do there. And someone asked me the other day, They were like, can I build my business even though it's not in a hobby niche? Yeah, you can. Because, if I'm building these shutter blinds, for my office, is that a hobby? Not necessarily. It's something I enjoy, but it doesn't mean it's a hobby. Or maybe I'm just solving a problem. So you totally can do that. And you solve the problem by helping out with the renovation, right? Let's see. Okay. Here's a good one. David. Hey, David, what's up? Speaking of routines, what time is your workout routine? Okay. So I've played around with this. And to be honest with you, I used to do it first thing in the morning. As I got older, started getting a little bit, I used to get hurt. That's what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't stretch properly. My body wasn't warmed up. So I haven't been able to do that. Now, without doing it in the morning, guess what happens? It doesn't happen as much as I'd like it to, because now in the afternoon, even though I might say I'm going to schedule it, things happen, right? So what I'm doing now, and I talked about this yesterday, is I'm installing a little tiny habit into my day. And so what I do is on my second cup of coffee, okay, which is around 9:30, 10 o'clock, what I'll do is while that is brewing, I will go out in the garage and I will do a complete circuit. So it might take me 5 minutes to do, I will do bench press, let's say, and then I'll do tricep pull downs. And then I come back in, I do the second part of my coffee making. I drink bulletproof, so there's a little bit of a process there. And then I go back out in the garage, do another full set, come back in, finish up the coffee, go back out, do one more set, and then boom, I've got 3 sets done of that. Now what I'm looking to do is install another segment of my day where I'll do another round of something else. And that's how I'm going to do it, because I don't want it to feel as it's a chore. I want to do it because I want to do it. Now, if 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I've got nothing going on and I just feel like going and throwing the weight around a little bit, then I can do that. But I want those things scheduled in there like that don't seem like work, right? If you've ever said, oh, I got to go to the gym today, it's going to be 35 minutes and they're 40 minutes, hour, whatever. Gosh, I'll just go tomorrow. It's because it's that thought of going there and you just don't feel like it, right? But to be able to install a small little habit like that, it works. It actually works for me. So that's what I'm doing. Daryl Hunt, what's up from Tampa? How's everything going in Tampa? What's the weather like there today? Stephen, happy Monday from Indiana. Yes. We've got Emma in the house. We've got, let's see, Jamie. Where was Jamie? There you are. Let's see. He's got his little routine here. I get up, wash my face, brush the teeth, put my gym clothes on, and take the train to work. And I'm on the gym by 5:30, Monday to Friday, to exercise every single day. Wow, that's commitment right there. I love that. Thanks for sharing. Let's see here. We've got Dan says, I have only sold FBA and now I'm running out of stock after warehouses. What is the best way to convert to FBM until this crisis is over? Literally, you can just go in there and create another, you can just basically go in and create another part of that listing. At least you used to be able to do it that way. I don't believe you have to create a brand new listing. I believe you can just switch that over. And if you did, you could probably just create a variation of that. But I wouldn't know 100. I haven't done that, in a long time. Chris Schaefer might be able to help us out with that. Jamie says, even though I'm working at home, I still keep the same schedule and exercise at home. Yeah. That's the thing too. When you have that schedule, you want to stick to it. So you don't, even if you don't do the exact same thing, you want to still fill that block. So if my little reading the book after my walk, if I don't have as much time, I might read 2 pages versus 10 pages. But you don't want to get off of that. Yeah, Josh says, was definitely stressed and nervous about how it would turn out. Yeah, but you did it, man, right? And there you go. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap up this little Take Action Moment Coffee with Scott session. I did want to just say thank you for showing up, and I will be back here again at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. So would love for you to show up again, have coffee with me. And we'll be talking about something like this as far as what can we do to really just be more productive, successful in any way or any area of our life. And that's what I'm going to be doing here. And I really do believe it's one step at a time, one action step at a time. And if I can help you with one thing and just get one thing done and take action on, I'm really going to focus in on doing that because I know that one thing can change everything. All right. So do me a favor. If you think someone would get value from this, please share this with someone that you think would find valuable, or a group that you belong to, whatever. But this is really about how to get out there and be inspired, be motivated, but also take action. Like if we want to get a result, we got to take action, right? So that's what this is all about. So I would love for you to share it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or any other thoughts. I want to hear from you guys. And then also, give it a little love on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, wherever you're watching this. And that would be awesome. All right, guys. So that is it. That is going to wrap it up for this Monday morning coffee with Scott. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Get out there, make it happen, take advantage of this time that we have, and really just do something. Something is better than nothing. I think we all know that. All right, guys. So that's it. That's going to wrap it up. As always, take care, take action. I'll talk to you soon. Remember, I'm rooting for you.